So, your AirPods are supposedly dead. You're super sad because a month's worth of rent just became a paperweight. I don't think so. In the next
52 minutes.
I'm gonna walk you through each and every step to get them back up running again. Starting with the easiest, going to more advanced methods of repair. Just follow along with whatever difficulty you're comfortable with, and let's get them out of your drawers and back on your head. So strap in, because this is gonna be a long one. Let's start out easy. First thing we want to try is rebooting them. All you need for that is your AirPods. I grabbed this working pair. These ones are for later, so you can see how they should behave. Hold both buttons until you see the orange light. Takes around 12 to 15 seconds and release immediately. So, you rebooted them. Didn't do anything. Next thing we want to do is a factory reset. For that you will need the AirPods. Yeah, right, you need AirPods for that. If that didn't do anything for you, next thing we want to try is a factory reset. It's pretty much the same, but this time we'll need your charging cable. Get them AirPods, plug them in. You see usually an amber light. Same thing. Hold both buttons, press for around 12 to 15 seconds until the light turns on, but keep holding it. And it starts blinking, goes to white, let go. Now you're back in factory mode. If your AirPods did not behave like this, then we might have some deeper issue. So let's put those working ones away and grab an actual broken one. Let's see what we got here. Kinda curious how crusty they are. Alright, original box. You go. Alright, pretty neat. Okay. So, let's see. Pretty decent condition. That needs some cleaning, definitely. Looks original. That's a good start. So, for the next step, gonna grab this iPhone opening tool. Paperclip will do just fine. And just deattach the cups. For that, you're gonna press into that hole and pull it out. Check the contacts. Some grime on it, yes, definitely. But first thing we can try is just to reattach the cups again. Maybe the other side, try. See what's gonna happen. Once again, we plug them in, try to do a factory reset, see how they behave. Okay, there's not even a light. This might be because they have been lying around for some time and they start to discharge. So I let them sit here for a moment and see if we're gonna get a light.
A few moments later.
So it's been 10 minutes. In the meantime, I fixed this ground loop issue and let's see what happened. Okay, we got the orange light back. And let's try the factory reset again. Hold both buttons. Oh, there's a white light suddenly. Not good. Keep holding it. It's blinking 3, 4. And it's not turning white. So there's definitely some connection issue. So next thing we want to try is to clean the contacts. For that we will need some tweezers and isopropanol. Deattach the cups again. Q-tips are usually a little bit too big. I just get the cotton from it. Stretch it out. Some nice tweezers. Wrap it around nicely. And let's start with the contacts first of the headband. Oh yeah, it's turning really dark. So it looks like no one ever tried before fixing it, which is always good for us. So let's get them nice and shiny again. So I would say until this step, you don't need to worry about your warranty. If you're not going to pour in a liter of isopropanol into the cups. But just be careful. Take your time. Nothing to hurry here. So look how dark this is compared to this. Look inside those cups. You should see 4 contact points. If one is missing, you're done for it. But it's mostly fine. Maybe they're so dirty that you cannot see all of them. Just be careful cleaning it. Rubbing a little bit back and forth. Let that sit here for a moment and do the same thing for the other side. Seeing that they're so dirty inside, I have a good feeling that this might already be enough to get them back working again. Okay, that might be already it. Let's see. There's a small notch inside. Take care that you put it in the right way. Wiggle, wiggle. And you hear a nice click and it's in. Same for the other side. Oh, good click. Okay, go for another factory reset. Plug him in. Turning orange when it's plugged in, so it's charging. It's a good sign. Turns off after like 5 seconds. Once again, holding both buttons. Once again, it's white. Not a good sign. Flashing 3. And no white light, which means that those contacts are really cooked. Alright, you might want to repeat the step multiple times, even over multiple days, if that's as far as you want to take it. But to really fix them, we will need to take them apart in the next step. So you can try cleaning it more and more, and you might get them back on. But for now, I would say we need to fix those contacts again. Now to the fun part, taking them apart. You could isolate the issue if it's the left side or right side, but as we saw, both contacts look pretty bad, so you might want to do both. If you want to isolate it, then you might take a second pair of AirPods, plug in the right side of it, plug in the left side of it, and see if they turn on. In most cases, it's going to be worth it to do both. I prefer to start with the left side. It's a little bit easier. Doesn't have that many screws. It's a quicker process. So let's go with it. To do this, you will need some tape, tweezer again, opening tool, scissors, a little bit of double-sided tape eventually. I prefer a razor blade, wrapped in electric tape to open them, because it's much thinner than this opening tool. So first thing, we want to cover the drivers a little bit, because we want to soften the glue by heating it up a little. When it comes to the tools, you will need the Pentalobe 5, Torx 2 and Torx 3. Eventually Torx 4, but we will see. So first I want to open those screws. They only turn 90 degrees. If you go further, you're gonna break them off and then you will need to glue in the housing. It kind of sucks, so just be careful. So top right turns clockwise 90 degrees. You can push a little bit down and you will feel some resistance. Stop. Bottom right is counterclockwise 90 degrees. Good. Top left also counterclockwise. Bottom right, you guessed it, clockwise. Use the trusty Dyson. Alright, let's work quick. I start opposing of the ear detection, pull it a little bit towards me so I can create a gap, get that razor blade in there, and there it is. Lifting it up. Just careful, because there is of course the cable attached for the microphone as well as the ear detection. This cable is really short, so we might want to pull it a little bit. Get a spatula. Oh yeah, that works nicely. Just lift it a little bit. Okay. So next step is we need to get that bracket off. We need a T3 and a T2. Let's start with the bigger one, with the T3. The T3s are holding down the main board, and it's this one here, right here. The other 3 screws are all T2. Same length, same size, cannot go wrong there. So this bracket is kind of slotted in. Need to pull it out from this to the side. So first thing, disattach this ribbon cable. Finally have some space to work here. Sticky glue. Then this connector on top we can lift up, and there is the antenna. I prefer to do with the tweezers. Go underneath and just wiggle it up. Got them both just attached. Here again, small bracket, T2, T2 and T3. Alright, then the bracket underneath. Pull it out. So another connector. Okay. So this cable is plugged in here. We leave it on there because we can not reach it at the moment. It's held down here and goes to the ear cup. So we want to lift it out of the slot, so we have a little bit more space to work with. Alright, see, the board is already loose. Let's be careful with those ribbon cables, and we can move it to the side. That's the Bluetooth board. Just wiggle a little bit. Alright. Now we want to get this cable completely out of here. This whole bracket is held on by this tiny T2 here. It's angled terribly, so maybe your tool is too long. You might only want to use the bit itself, but you can make it work. That feels like a T3. T2 it is. Bracket attached to it, which routes the cable. So this flex cable, which is the biggest enemy of the AirPods apparently. We need to get this out. So there are two screws on each side of this slip ring or brush contact. So my preferred method is to get one screw out completely and open the other one ever so slightly that you can slide it out. So get this one in. Just turning it like one round might be enough. There you have it. That's our culprit. So next thing we want to do is give this contact a proper clean. I prepared some nice isopropanol bath for it. But first I want to get rid of this bracket here. It's a small T2 here again, which holds the cable. It's nice and tight on there. Give it a good push. And it's off. So now to a little bit more delicate part. This cable, flex cable, is routed through this bracket. Lift it from the side. It's glued on a little bit. Let's be gentle and pull it away. Right to the corner. And then there's another piece glued in. I like to take the tweezer for that and just run it underneath it. Yeah. And now for the soaking. I know that isopropanol will slightly degrade the cable. If you already have a broken flex cable, it might rip over time. Then you're done anyway. I guess there are some people out there that can repair a flex cable in this size. That's definitely not gonna be me. But let's try our best to get this broken cable again, working again. So I gave the contact a good isopropanol bath and clean it off one more time. Earlier I said that this is a slip ring or brush contact, which is wrong. The whole mechanism inside the AirPod actually swivels, and that part itself doesn't turn, but the whole mechanism turns this thing when it's attached to the headband. So yeah, correcting here. Okay, you can let it sit, let it dry off a little bit, and the chances are really high that this is gonna work again. But as I'm not going by chance here, brand new contacts, one for the left side and one for the right side. The right side is a little bit longer, the left side is the shorter one, so that's the one that we need. And let's put it in. Get this bracket first. There's still a little bit of glue left. There are some glue strips on here, but for the big one in the corner, I love to use some double-sided tape to really fix it down so it cannot move anymore and it's just like the original. Here's a little bit glue already, this gray stuff. That needs to be taped to the side. So the writing goes up, and we put it through here. I'm gonna start bending it first for the corner. So we got this nice 90-degree angle here. Let's press this to the corner where we put the double-sided tape. And then the whole thing should come together like this. So now to the most tedious part. We got rid of this one screw, and this one is still in there, so it's open, so we can slide one side underneath, tighten it up, and then hopefully get the second screw in. This might take some time, like everything with this. Just be patient. It's in. Okay, not moving. And precision here. Okay, tighten it ever so slightly and see that the bracket aligns with the hole. Maybe loosen it up again a little bit, just so we can move it. So the other T2. It might work for you easier if you just use the bit and not the whole screwdriver. It's in. Tighten it up, and also the other side. Alright, the worst is done. Now we need to get this routing shield, or whatever you want to call it, over it. This bracket has a small notch There's only one way to fit it, so it needs to have complete contact with the mechanism. There's this small tab, and this one needs to go underneath or between the cable and the other bracket. Alright, looking good. Now this long T2, slide it right in, push it down, and it should look like this. It can wiggle a little bit, that's totally normal. I would take only the bit quickly to make sure that it's really on there. Don't touch the drivers. If you do, you can get a little bit of masking tape, wrap it around the screwdriver or something, and you can pull out some dents. But I wouldn't bother for tiny dents. It's helpful to slightly angle it and then slot it in. Small click, this is really in there. Now we try to get this board back in. Don't forget about the cable underneath. Get the T2 and the small screw with the big head. That's the one we want to use first. Which I didn't take. That's the wrong one. This is the one with the bigger head. So at this point we can route the cable again into this holder. Stay there. Okay. Okay. First cable. This flat cable and antenna is the next one. This flat cable is a little bit difficult sometimes, but got it on the first try. And now to the MMCX. Also very tedious process to get it to the right spot. If it's not perfectly aligned and you will push, you will bend, and you need a new antenna cable or even a new Bluetooth board. Whatever breaks first, I guess. Let's try with this tweezer. Nice click. Alright. Cable is routed around the screw to the inside. To reattach this one, put it in place. Nice click. Sounds like a lock-picking lawyer here. Nice click out of 3. This bracket has one slot. Sliding in, put it down, big T3. So much easier. Not too tight, so you can still move it into place. So top right, counterclockwise now. Push it down a little bit. It goes in easier. 90 degree. Bottom right, clockwise, 90 degree. Top left, clockwise. Bottom left, I guess counterclockwise. So left side is done. Guess we're gonna do the right side next. Same thing again. I guess by now we know. Clockwise, counterclockwise, counterclockwise, clockwise. Here we are. Here we need to take out much more. Battery needs to go out. Motherboard as well. Driver needs to go out. So that's taking even longer than the left side. Let's start with this one here. This bracket. This is not the pentalobe, definitely not. I think it's T2. This bracket has some glue underneath. It might stick to the cable. Next thing I like to do is taking out the driver. That's a T3. So for the next screw, there's actually a proper bit for it, but I don't have it. It's this one. It's a flat Phillips, but only I have 2.5 millimeters, so you need a bigger one for that. Small workaround would be to use a flathead screwdriver, angle it, and not ram it into the driver. So that's what I'm trying to do. Sometimes the driver comes out pretty easy, sometimes it's kind of stuck in there. Try to get with the tweezer underneath here. Lift it up. And there you go. Next thing we want to do is getting the batteries out. For that we need to get rid of this bracket here. T3 again. Use the big ones right next to the battery. Slide it out. This has 2 slots. It can be a little bit tricky. The right flex cable from my side is the battery. Lift it up with the tweezer. Disconnect it. Back to T3. Now we take out the rest of the battery, which is a screw here. Here's another T3 which holds down the board as well as the battery. Here's another screw. Sometimes it's a P5 and sometimes it's a T4. So let's try the P5 first. And it's a T4. To lift out the battery, I'm gonna go underneath here, and it's already coming out. The cable is routed underneath here. Give it a slight tug. Same thing here, lifting it slightly. And you got rid of the battery. Okay, just like before, we want to get to this cable. So we need to take out the motherboard once again. And start with the T2. Back to T3. But first we might want to disconnect the USB, the lightning connector, as well as the contact to the driver, or microphones, or kind of everything, whatever's connected to it. So T3 for the two big ones here. Getting the board out can be a little bit tricky. First, we need to disattach this one here. I like to move it to the side. Be careful with the contacts here. You need to lift the board up and then pull it to the side, wiggle a little bit. It's gonna come out. Same thing as on the other side. The cable is routed here. I'm gonna give it a slight tug. Get some more space to work with. There you go. That's your motherboard. So now it's pretty much the same procedure as the left side. T2. And let's get the new one ready. Okay, it's going well. Can get that board back in. Up you go. Tug here, tug there. Move it in slowly, and definitely not forget about the cable underneath. There is only one way the board goes in. Sometimes it's misaligned and then it's stuck like this, and you have way too much space between the screw and the board. Then you will need to lift it a little bit, but the best thing to do is take it out again and try a second time. There's still some space, so it might be helpful to get this cable out here. Then we can tug on it and get everything into position. Yes, that's nice. Big screws with the gasket. we can route the cable. There's a small slot it needs to go through. Like it right in between, there it goes. And definitely put it in there, in this cable holder thing. Otherwise it will not fit with the battery. That looks good. That's how it should be. Might have noticed the board is still wiggling. It's always been wiggling. Click those back in. This tiny bracket. Black side up, silver side down. Next thing, battery. Just like we got it in, got it out. I'm gonna put it in. Lifting it in the front. Reconnected. We want to put the bracket over. Spongy side to the bottom, of course. And slot in. You will see once you do it. All that's left is the driver. This side goes down. This one is up. Take a look that the contacts are sitting right here, not getting stuck here or bended. You break them off. You'll be sad. Don't want to do that. The metal thread gets the screw. This one now. The easiest way I found is to place it on there. Take your index finger, wiggle it around, and start twisting. Don't touch the driver. For the last one, once again, maybe I need a tool for that. Let's hold the screwdriver for now sideways. Yeah, that's done. Okay, I hope you didn't forget anything. Let's check one more time. T3 is battery. Battery, driver, tight, tight, tight. Motherboard, motherboard, battery, and battery. Okay, T2 is this one, this, oh, this one was not tight, good, got this one we didn't even touch. Put this back in. Let's see, how was that? Counterclockwise? Clockwise. Clockwise? Counterclockwise. So that's it. And all we can hope and pray is that was everything. I've seen broken Bluetooth boards. They do exist, but maybe 1 out of 20 or something. After 2 nerve-wracking hours, I guess it's time to enjoy the fruits of our labor and see if we had any success. I'm gonna use this trusty old iPhone 5S. It doesn't show the animation because it's too old, but that shouldn't bother us. Bluetooth. Plug them in. So we got an orange light for charging. Guess you cannot see that actually. So factory reset, clicking both buttons, and it's still white. That's terrible. After yesterday's rather unimpressive results, I did some more testing behind the camera and I'm coming back with a bunch of information. So I had to write a whole script, and instead of reading all of this to you while sounding like a total robot, why not let an actual robot do the work? So David, take it away.
Here's a quick rundown of what I did. I fully charged the AirPods inside the case. Pulled them out and they immediately started blinking white, but could not be found by any device. I put a known working left cup on, and there was immediate success, which concludes that there's an issue with the left side. I took it apart once more to see if everything is plugged in nice and firmly. And heavens behold, I broke the brand new cable. So I put in a new one, but they still behaved the exact same. Pull out of case, white blinking and nothing. Resetting them gives me 3 amber lights and that's it. After contemplating all my life choices and what the hell am I actually doing here, I left it. For now. But as my ADD brain couldn't deal with this disappointment and making this whole video absolutely senseless, I started reviewing all the footage and keep digging the interwebs, which brings us here. And I got some good news, some bad news, some more good and some even worse. The good news is, our repair was a total success. Even much earlier on. Because after cleaning the contacts with IPA, they showed the exact same behavior as of now, and replacing the cables did not improve its condition. Which leads me to believe that replacing the cables, especially breaking one of them, was totally unnecessary. But how could I have known that? Well, I do have a pair here, with the exact same light pattern. And it's a broken Bluetooth board, that's the bad news. I already tried cleaning the whole thing with IPA with no success. For other good news, I think it's fixable, immediately followed by worse, but not by me. Let me explain. As I was looking deeper and deeper into this, I came across a Vietnamese repair channel in which they took off one of the chips and replaced it with one from a donor board. In this case, they apparently had some charging issues, if you can trust auto-translate, and it was on the right side power board. So what does a charging IC have to do with our non-functioning Bluetooth, you might ask? Well, I went on iFixit and looked at their teardown to identify what type of chip that is. And lo and behold, this is not some generic charging IC, this is called an Apple 343S00404, most likely the Bluetooth SoC, or more commonly known as Apple H1. And by comparing the parts number, you could see that the left side and right side are in fact the same chip. And as seen in the Vietnamese repair channel, that those chips are interchangeable, I guess by now even the last of you notices where this is heading. I want to replace that chip. I am willing to sacrifice a working right side PCB to take off that H1 chip and put it on the left side. Sadly, I don't have the skill nor the experience for a job like this. So if anyone of you out there is up for the challenge, let me know, and I send you the parts.
So you heard him, and if David says so, it must be true. In the meantime, I put in a new Bluetooth board, so the whole process did not go to waste and I can get some redemption. So for good measure, we're gonna do one last factory reset, plugging it in, holding both buttons, amber light is flashing, 1, 2, 3, and they turn white, and he's searching for a device. So turn on Bluetooth. Older iPhone doesn't know much about the AirPods Max. And it looks pretty much successful. We connected. I turn off ear detection so we can actually hear something. Select the AirPods Maxes. So, sounds pretty good. I guess we fixed our AirPods with the knowledge that we share. I want to thank you so much for watching. Wish you the best of luck with your own repair and have a good one. What are you still doing here? Didn't you get enough?
I guess they want to hear your final thoughts.
I can't. This video as a whole took much longer than I've ever imagined. You do it.
Geez, alright then. As you've seen, this is a manageable repair job. We were a little unlucky with the faulty Bluetooth board and could have been done with it by just cleaning the AirPods properly. But this made for a much more comprehensive guide, which, I think at least, will keep its relevance even with the release of AirPods Max 2. Because we all know how Apple handles their design flaws if a class action lawsuit doesn't come their way, and I'm not expecting any changes as long as the ear cups are detachable. There is one more pragmatic approach to repair, which I didn't want to go into much further, but it's being posted by its author all over Reddit. That would be hardwiring the left and right sides. I'm not a huge fan of this method for some obvious reasons. Firstly, you lose the detachability, which doesn't matter too much, as long as Apple is not selling replacement cups individually. The second problem with it is that you're required to cut off the terminal of the headband and drill a hole through it to route the exposed wires from the left to the right side. And it just looks awful, but I get it. Better ugly than not working at all. But my biggest concern with this method is that it might not even fix your AirPods. You cut them up, drilled holes in them, and soldered cables from the left to the right side, and then you experience a faulty Bluetooth board, like we did with our pair here. You assume you did a bad repair job and destroyed them completely. The resale value is now close to zero, and they'll end up as e-waste. So only attempt this if you're 100% sure that it's just a bad contact and nothing else. There are so many other measures you can take before going down that road. But if you're interested, links for this and all my other resources are in the description. Thanks. Bye.